creepy and cool TikToks that will blow your mind. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
People said the quality of the video is so good, and if you see it from the phone, it's starting to lag. By the way, this video is racking more than 170 millions on TikTok, and it's not even a week.
This place is so massive, it changes your worldview. You and your first act gotta go visit it. This place is known as the Salina Slanik Prahova. It is an absolutely massive salt mine that is so unbelievably massive that many people experience ego death just entering the salt mine. This is because compared to how massive the salt mine is, you're simply just an ant while you're walking through here. This is because at the height of the ceiling, they're about 177 feet high. Now, this salt mine was started all the way back in the 1600s, and it was a functioning salt mine until 1943. Which means that everything you see here took hundreds of years of work. Now, the mine features natural air conditioning, and it has a microclimate that is rich in aerosols, which some people believe helps treat respiratory problems. Now, some of the mine's chambers have actually been transformed into sports courts. Imagine playing a game of basketball in this. That would be absolutely wild. And the mine is completely open for tourism and has been since about 1970.
Romania finally getting mentioned. Beautiful.
You are literally not going to believe what they've just found underneath the Khafre, the middle pyramid in Giza. I can't believe it myself, but I'm going to show you. There was a press release yesterday in Italy from Filippo Biondi and Corrado Malanga. They have written a paper which has got all the results of their synthetic aperture radar Doppler tomography, which is a SAR radar scan. So basically using sound waves, I believe, they have scanned deep inside the middle pyramid and all underneath the structure. And then from the results, they are able to create like 3D models of what they think the sound waves are showing. And I can't talk, I'm so excited. So underneath the pyramid, they have found 8 huge cylindrical structures that are aligned perfectly in twos, and there's 4 pairs of them, and they go deep into the earth. So this is the 3D recreation of what the SAR scan shows. So you can see these 8 cylindrical pillars that go deep down, and then each pillar is surrounded by like a circular path or walkway or tube. Okay, this is not all. This is the beginning of it. Not only that, at the very base of the pyramid, like ground zero of the pyramid in the center, they have found 5 of these kind of stacked chambers, which are identical, look like they're kind of identical in size and form as the king's chamber of the Khufu pyramid, the one next door. So these are made with huge blocks of granite, red granite that was brought hundreds of miles away to the Giza plateau and stacked very specifically in this sort of horizontal sandwich with a convex, oh my gosh, what's the roof? The roof's on the wonk, there we are. A vaulted ceiling, I'm way too excited. So 5 of them, 5 of these chambers just chilling in the middle of the pyramid, and then 8 cylindrical, massive underground structures that go deep down. And what is under that? I'll show you. So 4 of these cylindrical structures dropping deep down into the earth, they go into 2 square sort of chambers, 2 square empty spaces, which are 80 meters by 80 meters wall to wall. Each of these square chamber walls is 80 meters identically all the way around. Perfect square chambers with 4 cylindrical shafts going into them, or pillars, whatever they are, cylindrical structures, with winding, coiled, maybe a walkway. We're not exactly sure. This is just what is showing up from the scans. Oh, and I'm sorry, did I tell you how deep these cylindrical tubes go under the pyramid? 648 meters.
Wow.
648 meters under the main pyramid. And then you hit the 80-meter two chambers, and then this is a map of the whole of the Giza plateau. So in the center, wait, I'm going to move. This here is the chambers that are in the center pyramid. The cylindrical chambers going down to whatever's going on 648 meters down here. There is evidence that there are more structures that go on for 2 kilometers underneath the Giza plateau, all interconnecting underneath all 3 pyramids. And apparently there's going to be more press releases. This is just the beginning. The team are going to do some more press. This is so very exciting. One thing I will say is that the idea that the pyramid was just a tomb for a dead pharaoh, why would you need 648 meters of perfectly aligned north to south pillars that go into an antechamber that then connect to an underground network of stuff? It's a bit excessive, isn't it? Just for a tomb. I'm going to be following this very closely, and if I find out anything more, I will bring you the information. I hope you have a fantastic day. Happy hunting.
Mind-blowing. But too bad the Library of Alexandria accidentally burned down and the Vatican has so many books. Oh, what if the pyramid is just a roof?
8,000 pages of documents is a lot to sift through. Can you just tell us who killed Kennedy?
Well, you know, I was given the task of releasing that because many presidents have gone through it and they haven't released. And I said, release. We even released Social Security numbers. I didn't want anything deleted. I don't think there's anything that's earth-shattering, but you'll have to make that determination.
Watch the Candace Owens podcast. She breaks it all down.
Apparently, if you search up corset piercings here on TikTok, it's supposed to leave you at a loss for words. Now, I'll be honest, I really didn't know what to expect when searching up corset piercings, but anyways, as you can see up at the top, I searched up corset piercings, and more than a few videos ended up popping up, and honestly, I really did not expect what I ended up seeing. Now, I decided not to show what the corset piercings look like in my video in case you don't want to be spoiled and you want to see for yourself. And also, I feel like my video might get taken down if I did show them, but yeah, I did not expect that type of piercing at all, and I don't know why anyone would ever get those piercings in the first place. I believe these corset piercings are also temporary as well, so if you were to get them, they're just for like taking pictures or something like that, and eventually your body will just reject the piercings and you can't even like have them for however long you want anyways. But yeah, definitely quite interesting to say the least. If you would like to see what it is yourself, just search up corset piercings here on TikTok, and you will see exactly what a lot of people are talking about right now, and I do agree, it left me a little bit at a loss for words.
I'm not gonna search, but it sounds painful.
This 6-year-old girl was allegedly sold by her own mother to a Sangoma for her skin and blue-green eyes.
What?
And while witnesses made these horrifying testimonies in court this week, one of the defendants accused of orchestrating the girl's kidnapping was seen laughing. You see, in February last year, 6-year-old Jocelyn Smith from South Africa disappeared, triggering a nationwide search. Initially, her mother, Kelly Smith, claimed that she had left her daughter with the boyfriend, but police quickly became suspicious after they discovered that she had waited over 6 hours to report Jocelyn's disappearance and showed hardly any distress during the search. The mother, along with her boyfriend and another man, were later arrested and accused of selling, delivering, or exchanging the little girl and then lying about her disappearance. Their criminal trial began about 3 weeks ago, and honestly, some of the testimonies so far have been truly hard to listen to. A local pastor took to the stand and said that all the way back in 2023, the mother spoke to him about needing money and that she would be willing to sell her children for 20,000 rand each, but was willing to go as low as 5,000. The little girl's teacher also testified against the mother, saying that in the days after Jocelyn went missing, she allegedly said that her daughter was already on a ship inside a container and that they were on their way to West Africa. As the days went on, more and more witnesses took to the stand, including the mother's own sister. A pivotal moment in the trial came with the testimony of Laurentia Lombard, the mother's neighbor and friend, who was actually formerly accused but then turned into a state witness. She said she remembers the mother packing Jocelyn's clothes into a black bag before meeting depicting a traditional healer known in South Africa as a Sangoma, who then drove away with the two of them in a white van. Over a year later, we still don't know where Jocelyn Smith is, and the trial is expected to continue until the end of this month.
Some people doesn't deserve children. And what do you mean by skin and eyes?
If you use a towel to dry your face, you might want to stop. Towels collect dead skin, oil, and bacteria. Every time you dry your face, you're rubbing all of that back into your pores. That's why you're breaking out, and why your skin feels greasy right after you wash it. And if you're using the same towel for your body and face, you're basically rubbing sweat and bacteria from your feet onto your face. Just use a separate towel, or better yet, a paper towel. Yes. Your skin will thank you.
Today, nearly 80% of schools in Colorado are closed because teachers are at the state capitol protesting newly proposed cuts to public education. The Denver Teachers Union says they're worried the new proposal could cause layoffs and balloon class sizes, hurting students in the process.
We are seeing and hearing a lot. Thousands of teachers expected here on the steps of the Colorado State Capitol, and you're getting a glimpse of just a few of them right now. They are still showing up as we speak because they're protesting specifically two things: how schools are funded in the state of Colorado, and millions that were promised last year that are now in limbo because the state of Colorado is facing a $1.2 billion budget shortfall. And as we kind of walk around this crowd here, you are going to see educators from all over the entire state here, Chris, that have come up to make sure that their voices are heard.
It's scary because it's coming from the state and from the federal, so we just don't feel like there's any solace. We're kind of in this pincer movement of like, where is this funding going to come from?
Do you feel your classroom could be compromised?
Absolutely, absolutely. We do absolutely the best that we can with what we've got, but it's harder and harder, and we've got less and less.
And in response, Colorado Governor Jared Polis is saying this: he's canceling school, that at the last minute in several districts will put strains and hardships on parents and will leave kids without instruction and many without a safe place to go. Let's remember that nearly 70% of third graders can't read or do math on grade level, and this leaves parents scrambling to find care. I spoke to one special education teacher just a short time ago. He says every day when he wakes up, Chris, he doesn't know how his kids are going to be in the future, not just a week from now, but a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. He says that too often people use kids are the most important thing in our lives as a political talking point, but that actions have not followed through, and that's why he has joined so many others here to make sure that Colorado educators are heard loud and clear here.
We are nothing without our teachers. Wow. Look at that. That is awesome, man. Look, if it's that real, it shows how behind the rest of the world is.
One of the worst patient experiences I had at the ICU was a man who bled out from alcohol abuse. He was actually going from the ICU to a floor, meaning he was recovering, and then it took a matter of minutes for what we call esophageal varices, which is what you get when you drink. You have to band them to stop them from bleeding, and it just literally broke, and he bled out from everywhere. Ooh. That ultimately led to him coding because we did not know initially that he was bleeding because it was all internal, and then it just went real downhill from there. When your liver is damaged, like to the point of cirrhosis, your clotting factors do not work anymore, which means your blood can be thin and just uncontrollable. I don't think a lot of people realize your liver does that. That's part of the liver's function. So when you kill the liver, that directly relates to blood.
Ooh.
I believe the man survived because we coded him for 45 minutes, and then he ended up having a lot of rehab, a lot of stays longer than that. But the point that I'm trying to make is that kind of stuff with alcoholism, when you get too far, it goes from 0 to 100. It's not like you're going to get this little subtle hint and you might if you're paying really close attention, but most of the time it goes from 0 to 100. You don't think there's anything physically wrong with you until you do. And then GI bleeds and things with liver and things with blood, it's very hard to treat and very, very, you can't assume what's going to happen. It's really hard to navigate what's going to happen or when it's going to happen or how bad it's going to happen. It's like a nursing, I don't want to say joke, but a nursing stereotype that if someone comes in with a GI bleed, you have no idea if they're going to go home the next day or if they're going to die, because it is so unpredictable. And all this stuff is really gruesome and ugh, but even telling the story helps me remind myself of, obviously if you're a casual drinker, a glass of wine or two a week, fine, but when you get to that danger zone, it's not going to make you healthy. Like, eventually it will catch up to you, and eventually you could die from it, and the death is not pleasant.
Ferris is so scary. It's like literal fountain of blood. I don't know how alcohol is still legal. Hey, that is. Ooh, what is that thing inside the? What? Oh my god. Ooh. That is crazy, man. Is that a horn? Ooh. I would like to try that. Ooh. Y'all will do anything to not exercise. Get out of here, man. Ooh. She's still free? How?
Bro, you cannot tell me we are not living in a movie. So after 9 months stranded in space, the two astronauts, Sunny and Butch, they touch down to Earth in a scene so goddamn beautiful, it looks AI generated. You can see boats racing to them in the distance, and then SpaceX hits them with the coldest line that they've been waiting 286 days to hear.
Butch, Sunny, on behalf of SpaceX, welcome home.
Oh, and just when you think it couldn't get any cooler, they are welcomed by a pod of dolphins. What is this? Now keep in mind, they haven't felt gravity in like nearly a year, and you can lose about 1/3 of muscle mass in just 2 weeks. So, when they actually touched down, they needed help standing up again, and they were even given these rolling chairs so that their bodies can begin readjusting.
No.
Sunny broke the world record for the most spacewalking for a female astronaut. Oh, and apparently, they won't be paid overtime for the trip, which was only supposed to last about a week. According to their website, NASA astronauts make about $152K. Nice, 6 figures, but according to a former astronaut, Katie Coleman, they won't qualify for the months of overtime. Instead, Coleman said that they will be paid on the same basis as a federal employee on an extended business trip, which are compensated for a handful of incidentals. Please tell me that can't be true.
This is dangerous. NASA should not make deals with SpaceX again.
This is Axel Rudakabana in the back of a taxi just moments before murdering 3 little girls.
Oh my goodness.
After the driver asks him how he'd like to pay, he leaves the taxi without paying the fare. After a confrontation, he approaches the Heart Centre in Southport, where he first tries to open a locked door before entering the building. Inside the building were 26 primary school-aged children enjoying a Taylor Swift-themed dance class at the start of the school summer holidays. Carrying a 20-centimetre long knife he'd bought off Amazon, he began stabbing at will. B.B. King, who was 6, Elsie Stankham, aged 7, and 9-year-old Alice De Silva Aguiar all died in the attack. 8 other children and 2 adults were also injured. When police searched his home after his arrest, they found a number of weapons, including a machete, a set of arrows, and a sealed box containing ricin poison.
Ooh.
A week before the murders, Rudakabana had tried to return to Range High School, where he'd been excluded 5 years earlier. But he was stopped from making the journey when his father pleaded with a taxi driver not to take him. On the 29th of July 2024, wearing the same hooded sweatshirt and surgical mask he was wearing a week earlier, he made sure to book a taxi after leaving the house. Axel Rudakabana has been jailed for life after admitting to all charges, including murder, attempted murder, and terror-related offence.
Rest in peace, little girls. How hard is bro training?
This is the moment a 5-meter-long great white shark swam towards a group of divers in Bali. Fabian Clinton was exploring the waters off Penida Island with a group when he spotted a dark shadow in the ocean. Initially, he wasn't sure what it was, only that it was big, so he began to follow it. After realizing it was a great white, Clinton began making noise and gesturing to the others to take a look. Then it swam towards him, and Clinton said he and the shark stared at each other for around 20 seconds, and he rapidly became aware of his mortality. He said, "My first thought was, oh, sorry mum, I shouldn't be here." Another swimmer said she feared for her life when the animal turned towards them, saying, "The size of the shark was like nothing I'd ever seen before. It reminds you of how small people are."
He spotted a dark shadow in the ocean and he didn't know what it was, so he began to follow it.
This is video from inside the Montreal airport, and you're seeing a family of 4, mom, dad, and their 2 adult children wearing backpacks, and are walking through the terminal towards an exit. And outside, you can see a minivan pull in and park, and then the guy motions to this family of 4 to get in. Now, this is part of a human smuggling run. I'm Jorge Barrera, a reporter with CBC's investigative unit. I'll break it down. So, okay. Project Octopus was an RCMP-led investigation that started in around July of 2022, and it was targeting human smuggling networks that were operating through Cornwall, Ontario, which is a border town just north of New York State, and people were being moved through Cornwall, through the borderlands of an indigenous community called Akwesasne. Now, this is a Haudenosaunee community, and its territory is actually split in half by the Canada-US border and the St. Lawrence River.
We begin in Quebec with breaking news of a multiple drowning tragedy.
Just last hour, police in Akwesasne confirmed a total of 8 bodies have been recovered from the St. Lawrence River.
So there were 2 families. One family was from India, from the Gujarat state, and they paid a local businessman about $100,000 to arrange for them to be smuggled into the U.S., and they arrived in March 2023, and they ended up in Winnipeg, and then they took a flight to Montreal, where they were picked up by human smugglers, and they were joined on the boat that crossed the St. Lawrence River, that that capsized with his other family, a Romanian Canadian family that was actually facing deportation. Now, the parents were the ones facing deportation, but they had Canadian-born children, a 16-month-old boy and a 2-year-old girl, and they paid $15,000 to the same human smuggling network to get them into the U.S. People who choose this route are usually very, very desperate. When I saw this footage for the first time, it gave me a look into something that I had only really covered on the surface through court records or, a court hearing. But here, these images were taking me inside, showing me how this group would pick up people at airports, would pick up people in motels, and I could see the faces of the people that they were moving. It gave me an insider's look at how this all operates.
Those poor babies.
These findings allowed us to construct a 3D model of the entire complex. The examination of dozens of tomographical images obtained from different angles using Capella space and Umbra radars enabled the 3D reconstruction of most of the objects inside the Pyramid of Khafre. Below, we present some images from our 3D analysis. The analysis of the structures above Belzoni's chamber are intensely coloured spots which can be observed appearing in all tomographic images taken from different angles corresponding to the internal artificial structures. On the next page, it says that improvements of the signal-to-noise ratio revealing the internal structure of the 5 Zs, consisting of 5 horizontal levels and a sloping roof. So this is the raw pictures of the data that they used to create their model. And this is the model. So it reads the tomography with another cross-sectional line showing the presence of vertical structures. And if you think that was pretty mind-blowing, it then goes on to say, as observed in the 3 model below the ground level, so ground 0 of the main structure, vertically aligned cylindrical structures extend for hundreds of meters beneath the Giza Plateau. Notably, 8 of these structures...
NASA. The whole industry needs to get on their knees and say sorry to, what's his name? Graham Hancock.
Just released the most insane footage of Mars ever recorded. 140 million miles away from us.
That's Mars. People say it's Devon Island, Canada.
Don't go anywhere because we still have fire clips after fire clips back to back.
Are you not hungry for breakfast in the morning? That's high cortisol. Do you wake up at 3 a.m. having to pee? That's high cortisol. Experiencing strange shoulder pain? That's also a sign of high cortisol. Is your hair thinning unexpectedly like mine was? That's high cortisol too. Hearing an annoying ringing in your ears? That's high cortisol. Dealing with that stubborn pooch around your midsection? It's the cortisol effect. You've probably heard of cortisol before, but stay with me. This is important. Elevated cortisol levels are directly linked to stress, especially for people juggling demanding jobs or carrying heavy mental loads. If you have trouble falling asleep or staying asleep at night, waking up refreshed and energized for the day can feel impossible, and it's not your fault. Here's my recommendation. Start taking Shilajit. Most people don't realize that Shilajit has 23 times more iron than spinach, 7 times more calcium than milk, 11 times more vitamin A than carrots, 15 times more potassium than bananas, and 9 times more protein than yogurt. Shilajit truly is a game changer. If you want to try it, I've put the link in my bio.
It's crazy that you're 72, like you look like, I don't know, 36 or something, and you're totally jacked. You got like veins coming out of your arm. You can do push-ups all day.
At 72 years old, sweetheart, between now and 28 years, that's what I have. That's the time I have. I had eczema, asthma. I was a wipeout. Couldn't digest my food because I just ate the standard American diet and it was killing me. I could hardly wear anything backless. Now you can hardly keep me out of something backless. And every single month, I broke out in my face like with a rash.
That's
every
crazy
month.
Because your skin is absolutely
Isn't that incredible?
perfection.
Isn't that incredible?
Translucent.
And it was all diet related. It was all diet related. Unbelievable. I have a lot of belief in eating food live. I know that that is the best food for me to grab hold to, because I know that every time I'm cooking something to certain temperatures, I'm killing the life in that food. Everything just got easier. And then with the movement, I got stronger. I don't care what name you give a disease, you're pretty much just inflamed. I love me, so I'm gonna find out what caused the eczema, what caused the asthma, and I stay clear of those things, because now I don't wanna hurt me, the individual, by ingesting those things that are going to cause me issues. I am just an expression of my Creator. Let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. To be able to say that I'm 72 and enjoy each and every moment of my time on this planet in this form, it's just amazing.
If you want...
She looks like 36. Nah, man, you good, blind? She looks like a healthy, 55 to 60 years old.
To know more about living foods, healing herbs, and why you should learn more about Creator's Garden, this ebooks will show you everything you need to know. This knowledge is for lifetime.
This could possibly be one of the biggest discoveries of all time. Researchers just discovered something that is going to absolutely blow your mind, and people are freaking out all over social media. The Great Pyramids of Giza, we all know they're one of the biggest mysteries out there. Many people believe they were built by aliens. I mean, it remains a mystery how they were physically built. Weird objects that we found recently. Last year they discovered an electrical anomaly under the pyramid, which they weren't sure what this was. Now, this research came out a while ago. Researchers essentially developed a new technology which uses LiDAR and radar to basically look through the buildings in a way, but also scan under the ground. Now, stick with me. In the last few days, this research was conducted, and these images are what came out from the sound waves that they captured. This right here is basically the base of the pyramid. So what the hell is all of that under the pyramid? What they did with the radar data is actually then transform it into 3D mock-ups which look like this, showing this under the middle pyramid. Essentially these like spirals which have paths and walkways all the way down. The crazy thing about this, stick with me, these things go 600 meters under the ground of the base of the pyramid. Now when you look at this scan, be ready to have your mind absolutely blown. This is the pyramid, that's the top of the pyramid. This is where the tube goes down. This is all 600 meters under the flipping ground. So they are now believing that there could actually be other buildings and God knows what, all this way under the ground. Obviously not that much information's come out yet, but make sure that follow button and I will keep you updated.
Humans with the help of fallen angels or Nephilims built that. What do you think?
What would you say is the most disturbing thing you've seen while hacking?
While hacking overall, or are you talking about just in child crimes and trafficking?
I guess maybe on the dark web.
I mean, I would say the most disturbing would have to be, you know what, it's better for me to just stay on the one topic. So yeah. I'll say the worst things will probably be, you know, I don't want to go into detail about these things. It's like the horrible conversations or videos or just, here's one I can tell you about. So, you know, a story that I heard from somebody else about somebody paying to watch a live stream of a baby getting their skull stomped on and crushed,
my
while the baby was alive, of course, and people paying to watch that live stream on a website, which I don't think it was a dark website. It was just a live stream. But yeah, I mean that one for whatever reason, although not related to crimes was just as disturbing, if not more, to me than most. So
that was on the clear web?
It was a protocol on the clear web, yeah.
How is that possible?
I mean, you can put anything you want on the internet, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was if I can remember correctly, it was an RTSP stream, which is like what cameras use in most cases, like an old school surveillance camera would use to view footage. But like I said, I didn't directly see this happen. I just heard about the story.
Yeah.
So I can't give you every detail because I wasn't there.
The fastest.
Some people are sick, man. Hey, but wait until you hear about the red rooms.
This way to read a human being. Number one way is to keep one question in your head. It is, what does this person want me to feel about them? And what do they want me to notice? Number one. So what do they want me to notice about them? And that's going to show you the beginnings of understanding the mask that people wear.
There are people who don't wear a mask. What you see is what you get.
This is raw, unfiltered scientific proof of what the pyramids were really built for. This is what a real Egyptian tomb looks like. Dark, enclosed, and filled with hieroglyphs. But this is the Great Pyramid of Giza, the biggest tomb in the world. The closer you look, the more you realize that this pyramid was definitely not made for burying the dead. Why? Because the materials used to build it are exactly what we use today to create electricity. Let's break it down. Giza was once covered in bright white casing stones, polished to perfection and virtually airtight. These stones were made of limestone from Tura, a quarry 500 miles away.
Ooh.
Wait, what? They drag stones the length of Florida just to make the pyramids look nice and shiny? Not quite. This special limestone from Tura has less magnesium than regular limestone, making it an ideal insulator of electricity. Oh, and it also reflects sunlight, keeping the inside cool. Coincidence? Maybe, but let's keep digging. The interior chambers of the pyramid were built with rose granite, which contains asterisk 85% quartz. Quartz is piezoelectric, meaning it generates a small electric charge when moved or squeezed. The same quartz we use to power wash batteries and barbecue lighters. But that's not all. Granite also ionizes the air inside the chambers, further increasing the conductivity of electricity. And guess what? This granite was sourced from Aswan, another quarry hundreds of miles away. Now here's where it gets weird. The granite slabs inside Giza have these strange structural designs that don't exactly look decorative. In fact, they're incredibly difficult to make. Why would you build a roof like this using 80-ton stone blocks from hundreds of miles away when you can't even see it from inside the chamber? Historians claim these were relieving chambers meant to prevent the room from collapsing under the weight of the pyramid. But here's the kicker. The chambers below had no such relief. On the other hand, if you were somehow able to apply pressure to these chambers, you'd get an electric charge from the quartz. A lot of it. But electricity can't just exist on its own. To utilize it, you need to direct it through something. Enter copper, a metal often used in wires to conduct electricity. And guess what a remote camera revealed in the pyramid's narrow shafts just a few years ago? 2 copper handles embedded into the stone at the end of the shaft, the only metal ever confirmed in Giza. Oh, and there's also what appears to be a wiring diagram painted on the side of the shaft.
Wow, look at that.
Modern Egyptologists claim these handles were used with ropes to pull jars up the shaft.
No way.
Seriously? They're really reaching at this point. These shafts have no confirmed purpose. Some call them air vents, but some don't even lead to the outside. And in 2013, former Egyptian Antiquities Minister Zahi Hawass was accused of stealing artifacts from the pyramid. Among the rumored stolen items, long copper wires. Strange, right? Just what you'd need to complete an electric current.
We're paying for electricity when it's free. Wow. Look at that.
If you sleep
Looks like Jennifer Lopez.
with wet hair, you might want to stop. When your hair is wet, your pillow absorbs the moisture and becomes a breeding ground for bacteria. Warm, dark, and damp. It's the perfect environment for fungus to grow. This can lead to scalp infections, skin irritation, and even ringworm. Plus, wet hair is weaker. It stretches more easily and breaks faster. So if you've been wondering why your hair looks dry and brittle, this might be why.
Mind blowing. No human being could have done this. There's no way.
Okay, breaking news, and again, I think this shit is following us. So, heading to the airport, 3 a.m. we had to leave because it was such a long drive, early flight. Get an email, and they say, don't even turn up to the airport. The whole place closed. Heathrow, one of the biggest in the world. They said it will remain closed, whole thing, until midnight tonight. Keep in mind, right now, it's 6 a.m. So apparently I'll try and put a visual of it, a huge fire at an electrical substation, which has caused a power outage to not just the airport, but the whole area, including 16,000 homes. Around 1,300 flights have been impacted, which, to put into perspective, if there's around 200 people on each flight, that's around 260,000 people that have just been cooked, including us.
No way.
And they said, because Heathrow, it's one of the biggest in the world, it's, a central hub, so it's not just going to disrupt, flights today and for the UK, but for many days and for countries around the world. This was so bad that planes had to turn around mid-air and divert, and because they weren't even receiving arrivals at the airport. Some had to land in Paris instead of London. Others had to land in Ireland instead of London. So currently we don't know how the fire has started, but I'll keep looking. But I mean, the last time I was flying, I was reporting in the airport that there was a freaking terror attack in the city that I was going to. And now this. This is not even... I'll keep you updated.
I love it.
This is really scary. Oogly boogly.
Why do cats do that freaky sidewalk, to make them look scary?
This woman got her wisdom teeth removed and realized when she was put under, something horrible happened to her. Trigger warning. Her name is Celine. She's from France and she got a routine wisdom teeth surgery done. They used anesthesia, they removed her wisdom teeth, the procedure went fine and she went home. Around a month later, she gets very ill, feels very nauseous and just doesn't feel good at all, so she makes a doctor's appointment. The doctor runs some tests, her vitals look fine, everything looks good except for the fact that she is now pregnant. She immediately says, no, that's not possible, I haven't been actually active, but the doctor says, no, you 100% are, you're this far along, and they realized it happened around the time that she got the surgery. She then realized that while she was under anesthesia and unconscious, her dentist AR'd her in front of all of his dental assistants and they were all male. And to top it all off, the doctor says at this point you have to give birth to this child because you're already too far along to get rid of it. She does an entire interview in French which you can go and watch and translate yourself, and she asks us to share her story so she gets the justice she deserves.
As a man, I get why some women hate men.
They said telepathy is just the tip of the iceberg. It goes way deeper.
I've been really getting back into the telepathy tapes.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, it's blowing my absolute mind.
Tell me about it.
There's this one boy, Houston. His story is just insane. Like, grew up severely autistic, non-speaking, and mom had just grew up thinking that he was basically almost like a vegetable. And she like came home one day. Her son walked downstairs, looked her straight in the eyes, which she said never made eye contact ever, and said, "I love you." Verbally. Through that was the beginning, figuring out that he could read people's minds. He could see what they were thinking. And then it starts with him talking about this place. He says that he goes to this place with other kids, other people that have this ability of telepathy. They call it the Hill.
Yeah.
And he says, we meet there, we teach each other things, we pray for each other. And it's like this community of kids that have this ability. They go to the Hill. It's not like a physical place. It's like not dimensional. It's like a place where their consciousness goes. And they said, but it's like in the shape of a hill. He talks to other kids around the world, like one from Denmark, one from Texas, one from like just all over the world.
Is it being tested, like them following up with these people, meeting?
Yeah.
So like they're touching base with all these people and somehow they've never had contact with each other.
Yeah.
They don't know each other at all.
But the part that it's proven is all these kids can speak multiple languages. The example was a 2-year-old non-speaking autistic kid. He could speak 7 languages.
Like what?
That he's never been taught before. And he's 2.
Yeah.
Could be getting this wrong too. This is all secondhand.
There's no such thing as a human baby farm. That's way too much like Handmaid's Tale. It's fake. Until February 3rd of 2025, 3 women were rescued. 3 Thai women from a human egg farm where they say that they were held captive, forced to be injected with hormones, and had their eggs extracted forcibly without their consent from their bodies. September 2024, the whistleblower escapes. She goes back to Thailand and she contacts the Pavina Foundation. She talks about 3 specific women that she befriended in the facility that she really wants to help save. The Pavina Foundation works with Interpol and saves those 3 women, pays their ransom, gets them out. The 3 women then start providing more information about the human egg farm. This was like a few weeks ago. They were rescued like January 30th. So now more information is coming out. They're doing interviews.
อีกวันหนึ่งเขาก็พาเราไปที่บ้านพักหลังหนึ่งซึ่งในนั้นก็มีคนไทยอยู่อีกกลุ่มหนึ่งเกือบ60 คน
หางานจาก Facebook ค่ะก็เขาเขียนว่างานรับอุ้มบุญก็ได้เงินหลายแสน
ก็20ต้นๆถึง30 37 38ประมาณนี้ค่ะ
ได้เพราะหางานจาก Facebook ค่ะเดินทางไปพร้อมกันวางยาเพื่อดูดไข่แล้วก็อีกคนนึงกระตุ้นไข่ว่าถ้าคุณอยากกลับคุณต้องขายไข่3 ครั้ง
แต่กลับจริงๆก็ต้องจ่ายค่าเสียหายให้เขาอะไรเงี้ย
And now everybody's wondering, what about the other women? We got to get them out. What's happening in the egg farm? This is when it breaks global headlines. The Georgian authorities are saying none of the women that we found in the warehouses, like 70 of them, none of them complained about being held against their will. In fact, we saw pictures of newborn babies taped against the walls. They said that these are babies that were delivered by residents of the building, so clearly they're being surrogates. They're not being harvested for their eggs. This is all crazy. But the problem here being, even the Georgian authorities state that none of these women spoke Georgian, and maybe the only translators available were the ones that were running the surrogacy agency, so-called agency. They also stated stated that one woman who did speak Georgian said, "We have our documents with us, our passports. If we want to leave, we can leave at any time." I don't know why the girls would say that they're victims of trafficking. She claims that the only reason that some people leave is because they can't conceive the baby. The 3 women that were rescued in January, they have done an interview and they're completely masked, clothed, they're anonymous. They don't want to be known. A lot of people wonder, what is the incentive of them to make up a crazy lie like this? And maybe I'm naive, I just don't see how it's a lie. I don't see what anyone would gain from this. It does feel like if this is true, we're all heading straight towards Handmaid's Tale. We're bypassing all security measures and just going straight to Margaret Atwood, and that seems like it's becoming a reality.
If they are free to leave at any time, why was the ransom paid? So they can leave?
This is literally the sign to stop eating KFC chicken. If you still indulging in KFC, you must like humans. So y'all, KFC just dropped a commercial like 6 days ago. And they literally telling you in your face what their chicken is. This was by far one of the weirdest, craziest, demonic looking shit I ever seen all in one. They be telling us right in our face, and people just look at the commercial and be like, "Oh, that was so unique." They're thinking outside of the box. No, they're thinking inside of your skin, fool. What does the shirt say? Y'all, take a look at this commercial. Really pay attention. Okay, you got the chicken. You got a sweater floating down. Then watch the people like in a cult or something. A big giant egg. They take the person to the water. Watch what happened, y'all.
That is creepy.
Now somebody explain to me, why on earth would they make a commercial showing them dipping a human into some water, turning them into chicken, KFC chicken? I don't really need the answer. I was just saying, I already know the answer. Do you? Let me know in the comments. This shit crazy, fool.
Does this apply to Indonesia too? Because we have local suppliers, you know, who supply KFC with chicken, etc.
Behind me is currently the most viral video here on TikTok, and it's so viral because the quality of the video is so good that it literally makes your phone lag. The exact video was posted by a creator that goes by the name of No Rage, and currently right now the video has over 65 million views and almost 7 million likes in just 3 days of being uploaded, and pretty much every single comment in the comment section of this video is basically talking about how their phone lagged pretty much the entire time while trying to watch it. And I am with everyone else. I have literally the best iPhone and my phone just kept lagging the entire time. I literally had to save the video just so I could actually watch the full video. If you would like to watch the full video yourself, here's the exact account right here behind me. Once again, the creator's name is No Rage. And when you get on this page, it should be the 3rd video on his account, and now actually has 66 million views. So it is just gaining millions of views like pretty much every hour at this point, it seems. As it should, because it is definitely worth the watch, even though you can't even watch the full video without your phone lagging. But it is still nonetheless pretty cool. I'm definitely really curious to know your thoughts about all this.
Remember the first clip? That's it.
Not even scientists could explain this Eucharist miracle that happened in Lanciano, Italy. If you got a minute, I'm going to share the story because it's truly amazing how Jesus is truly present in the Eucharist. And really quickly, if you don't know what the Eucharist is, it's a sacrament that Catholics believe is truly the body and blood of Jesus Christ. It all started in the 8th century in Lanciano, Italy, when a Basilian priest was having doubts if this is truly Jesus' body and blood in the Eucharist, and he was having many doubts. And when the priest held up the Eucharist and said the words of consecration, repeating Jesus' words, he said, "This is my body, this is my blood," all of a sudden, the bread started to turn into real flesh, and the wine turned into real blood. The wine turned into 5 different pieces, which people believe represents Jesus' 5 wounds on the cross, and this is the Eucharist that turned into a real flesh. The priest couldn't believe it, neither could all the people at church that day. So then in 1970, more than 1,200 years later, the Archbishop of Balenciaga wanted this Eucharist thoroughly examined by a scientist because people had doubts. So Dr. Linoli, the head of pathological anatomy, examined this Eucharist. And his results, he couldn't even explain himself. These results were also confirmed by another doctor named Gregorio Batelli. The results came back saying the flesh is real flesh, the blood is real blood. The flesh and the blood belong to the human species. The flesh consists of the muscular tissue in the heart. In the flesh, we see present the myocardium, the endocardium, the vagus nerve, and also the left ventricle of the heart. Not only that, but the blood examined appeared to be fresh, even though it was 1,200 years old. The scientists had no explanation of this, simply that it was truly blood and it was truly a human heart. Jesus is truly present in the Eucharist,
Amen.
And this is the best gift he's given us, was to receive him every single day. And this Eucharist miracle was not only a wake-up call to that church, but to the whole world that he is truly present in this beautiful Eucharist.
Amen.
Amen.
Only Jesus saves, folks.
A couple is inside their kitchen when something pretty terrifying is caught on camera. The following video comes from Crystal and Damien, who both live happily in the house of their dreams. They had bought their home a few months ago before recently becoming engaged. To the couple, this house has become an important part of their relationship, as without it, their bond wouldn't be as strong. Although happy to be the property owners of this new house, there's something about this place that spooks them just a bit. Sometimes, things would happen that neither Damien nor Crystal could explain. For this reason, they've set up cameras throughout their house to capture video evidence of the strange occurrences. In return, they would have solid proof that what they're experiencing isn't just in their heads, but in fact, something real. It goes without saying, but what they've captured has left them deeply unsettled. On August 6 of 2022, a security camera inside their hallway captures this. It's worth noting that it was past midnight when this happened. Take a look. Although not really sure what to make of this, except that it might have been someone pranking them, or some crazy person banging on their door late at night, it's the following video that scares them the most. The couple is inside the kitchen when this is captured.
I don't want to keep hanging out with your friends if that's how it's going to make me feel at the end of the day. Like, it feels more like...
They don't mean to do, they're not like planning on, you know, they don't...
You know how it feels to hang out with a group of people? And they don't even want you there.
They do want you there. They want you there. They like you a lot. No, they don't. They
That's the only reason.
They like me. They're my friends. But they're because they're my. But they like you a lot.
They're acting rude to me.
They're not. They're not trying. That's just how they.
Why are you recording anyway?
Hey.
Germany has finally caved to the US and is set to pass this massive bill that will satisfy most of Trump's demands. Trump has repeatedly criticized the US's relationship with Europe, and most specifically Germany, for being extremely unfair. He highlighted how for decades America has spent trillions of dollars developing bases and providing aid to fund the complete military defense of Europe without getting much of anything in return. But the US has finally had enough, and Trump issued Europe an ultimatum by publicly suggesting that if European nations do not increase their own defense spending, then the United States will begin to pull its funding and troops out of the region, starting with the removal of 35,000 troops from Germany. This caused Europe to finally understand the gravity of the situation, and Germany has now caved to Trump by passing a massive $1.08 trillion spending package designed to revitalize the country's defense and overall infrastructure and start to end Germany's military reliance on the US.
I thought Germany couldn't have military because, you know, the World War I and II.
There are people that will watch this clip and look you in the eye and tell you that God is not real and that the spiritual realm is fake and a fairy tale.
I'm Terrence Swain. I'm a mother of 6, and the Ventura County Public School socially transitioned my daughter without my consent. I'm come here today to offer nothing but prayer, and I want to lift up my Father in heaven. Father God, I just come to you in Jesus' name. I pray, Father, that you would tear down.
Notice how everyone was fine until Jesus, and then all of a sudden everybody was triggered.
Would tear down the strongholds in this place. I pray, Father, that you would raise up the men in this room. I pray, Father, that you would stop. I pray that you would raise up everybody on this. Everybody.
Stop.
Yep.
Stop. Stop. Thank you. We don't do prayer. Please finish your comments. Finish your comments. Finish your comments, please. You have 28 seconds.
And I do pray all this in the name of the Jesus, the Son, the Father, and the Holy Spirit.
Thank you.
Jesus is the King of Kings.
Amen, amen,
and He
amen.
is the Lord of Lords. And I pray that all the high places here will be torn down in the name of Christ. Jesus is the Lord of Lords, and every knee will bow.
Your time is up.
Every
Your
knee
time is
will
up.
bow.
Whoever this woman is an absolute queen, but also take notice of how triggered everybody is by the name Jesus. If she had said Buddha, Allah, any of the other ones, nobody would have made a peep, because Jesus Christ is the truth. All other religions are false, fallen angel, satanic religions. Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life.
Amen. It's freedom of religion until it comes to Christianity. If you know, you know.
3 supplements to grow new brain cells in adults. Supplement number 3 is the most powerful. If you're new to my channel, hi, my name is Robert Love. I'm a neuroscientist. I specialize in helping people prevent Alzheimer's disease with science. So you probably learned in high school that you can't grow new brain cells as an adult. Current research shows that is not true. I want to cite the work of Dr. Elizabeth Gould from Princeton University. She's wrote multiple papers showing that adult mammals can grow new brain cells, specifically in the hippocampus, the memory center of your brain. That's really good news. So if you can grow new brain cells, why not the memory center? So that's really, really important. And growing new brain cells is associated with a healthy brain and with better memory. Here are some supplements that can help. Supplement number 1, this one's really, really important because it provides the raw materials for making new brain cells. It is fish oil. Specifically, the DHA in fish oil provides the healthy fats, the omega-3 fatty acids, to help make the new brain cells. That's really, really important. Also important for healthy cell membranes throughout your body. If you are vegan, you can do omega-3 algae oil. Supplement number 2, this one's really, really important with supplement number 1 because it helps reduce the risk of Alzheimer's disease. It is a B complex vitamin. So B complex is really important because B complex vitamins are important in making neurotransmitters. So that's really important in having the raw materials to stimulate the growth of new brain cells. And second, research from Dr. David Smith at Oxford found that combining fish oil with a B complex vitamin can reduce the risk of Alzheimer's disease by 30%. Supplement number 3, this might be the most powerful of all the 3, it is lion's mane. So lion's mane is great for facilitating the growth of new brain cells and new neural connections because lion's mane increases BDNF, which stands for brain-derived neurotrophic factor. This is a growth factor in the brain that facilitates the growth of new brain cells and new neural connections. So lion's mane helps stimulate the growth of new brain cells, new neural connections. Lion's mane also helps improve sleep quality, and sleep is when we actually form those new brain cells. So lion's mane is really helpful for making new brain cells because it helps with sleep, and it also supports a healthy immune system.
So fish oil number 1, number 2 B complex, and number 3 is lion's mane.
Forget Lyndon Johnson, forget the CIA, forget Fidel Castro. The Mossad killed Kennedy because they were so upset over what he did to Ben-Gurion. There's a very surprising series of letters between Kennedy and David Ben-Gurion, not only the prime minister, but the founder of Israel. They're very angry letters in which Kennedy is saying to Ben-Gurion, I'm killing myself trying to get a nuclear test ban treaty. I've even got de Gaulle on board, and that's impossible. And you keep testing in Dimona. You've got to stop. Ben-Gurion says, it's easy for you to say sitting in Hyannisport. I'm sitting with the Arabs all around me, and you want me to give up my nuclear testing. And Kennedy threatened him, and he threatens him in such a way that Ben-Gurion resigned. And I will tell you that I found articles, not in any crackpot publications, but in very sophisticated publications saying,
I think the CIA is just the, the American branch of the Mossad. The ancients were great.
Everyone knows Baldwin IV, but what if I told you there was an Orthodox ruler who fought more battles against the Muslims and won? Baldwin IV is famous for his battles, but Stephen the Great of Moldavia defeated the Ottomans over 40 times and stopped them from conquering Europe. Ruling from 1457 to 1504, Stephen fought to protect his people and all of Europe from the expanding Ottoman Empire. Even the Pope called him the Athleta Christi, the champion of Christ. Stephen didn't just fight with the sword, but with prayer. He fasted, confessed, and took Holy Communion before every battle. After every victory, he built a monastery. Over 40 monasteries and churches still stand today. At the Battle of Vaslui in 1475, Stephen crushed the Ottomans so badly that even the Sultan admitted defeat. When Constantinople had already fallen, Stephen was the last stronghold defending orthodoxy in the East. A powerful saying from Stephen Moldova is not mine, nor yours, but it belongs to God. If you want to learn more about Orthodoxy's greatest warriors, follow for more.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't the Ottomans rule Moldova for 400 consecutive years?
Dude, this new pyramid shit that's just come out?
Oh, this is insane. It's quite stunning. So apparently, through the use of LiDAR, they have discovered that there are enormous structures underneath the Great Pyramid that go kilometers deep into the earth with coils. So enormous pillars, and then these coils. They don't understand what it is because they're just looking at LiDAR images, but whatever this is a uniform structure. There's several pillars, and all of this is like very, very, very weird.
Yeah, 600 meters descending down those cylinders, and then there's more stuff below it, and then there's additional structures inside of it. Yeah, that was crazy.
It's really crazy.
What's been discovered is that there are huge structures coming down from the base of the pyramid deep into the bedrock. In fact, over 600 meters deep, which then connects to structures that extend up to 2 kilometers below the surface of the ground. 2 kilometers. Massive internal structures connected to the base of the pyramid and extending deep down. This is what we know so far.
Nikola Tesla believed that, the Great Pyramids of Egypt were a giant energy transmitter.
unknown number of Canadians have been executed. Global Affairs confirmed that today and condemned China's use of the death penalty.
They're not revealing their identities publicly for the sake of the family's privacy, but they did, as you mentioned, speak out and condemn these actions. Here's a statement from a spokesperson at Global Affairs, Charlotte McLeod, who writes, Canada strongly condemns China's use of the death penalty, which is irreversible and inconsistent with basic human dignity. Canada repeatedly called for clemency for these individuals at the senior-most levels and remains steadfast in its opposition to the use of the death penalty in all cases everywhere. We also got a statement from a spokesperson at the Chinese embassy in Canada, who tells CBC News China is a rule of law country. Whoever violates the law of China must be held accountable in accordance with the law. Drug-related crime is a severe crime recognized worldwide as extremely harmful to the society and will be faced with severe penalties in all countries. The facts of the crimes committed by the Canadian nationals involved in the cases are clear and the evidence is solid and sufficient. We urge the Canadian side to respect the rule of law and China's judicial sovereignty, stop making irresponsible remarks.
Execution of foreigners is extremely rare, even in the Chinese criminal justice system, which has 99% conviction rate and carries out more executions than any other country in the world. According to Amnesty International, in fact, China carries out more executions than all other countries combined.
Respect law where you go. Simple.
From strange sightings to mysterious events, these stories are sure to make you question what's real.
Bob, I'm tripping.
So get ready to have your mind blown and beliefs shattered.
Okay.
Because these are no ordinary caught-on-camera moments.
That was from the movie.
These friends were waiting at the central station when they spotted a woman walking across the platform, carrying her things. But there was something strange about her. She didn't have a head. She was just walking around as if waiting for the train. The friends couldn't believe their eyes. They were too scared to approach, unsure if they were seeing things or was the headless woman for real. It was a creepy sight, one that left them in shock. Mysterious portal. A surveillance camera on the street captured an unbelievable scene. A girl stood by the road, waiting to cross. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a portal opened right in front of her. Before she could even react, the portal pulled her in with incredible force. Or it could be the other way around, because what I noticed were the weird hand movements of the girl before the portal opened. It seemed like she willingly went in, rather than being pulled, and then disappeared, leaving no trail behind. Was the girl forced, or was it the plan all along? Let me know.
Let me know.
Tiny graduate. In Michigan, a college graduation ceremony took a unique turn when one student made a special entrance. As she walked up to the stage to receive her degree, she wasn't alone. She carried her newborn baby in her gown. The baby stayed close to her throughout the ceremony, even as she proudly accepted her diploma. The sight of a mother balancing both a milestone and motherhood was heartwarming and unforgettable.
That's awesome.
It was a moment that stood out among the crowd, creating a lasting impression on everyone who witnessed the extraordinary and beautiful blend of life's big moments. Vanishing passengers.
This one is from the movie.
While waiting at the airport, people stood around as usual when, suddenly, one passenger disappeared in the blink of an eye. A woman standing just behind him was left shocked, and the others around her were equally frightened. But this wasn't an isolated incident. A similar incident happened at another airport, where another passenger vanished while sitting in the waiting area. The people nearby were scared and confused, unsure of what they had just witnessed. It was an unsettling moment that no one could explain. Frozen moment. A local...
How is it possible without a deep understanding of geometry, mathematics, physics, and engineering? Built in the Abhaneri village of Rajasthan, India, the Chand Bauri is over 1,000 years old and is 100 feet deep, with 13 floors and 3,500 symmetrically placed thin steps. It is one of the biggest and most stunning stepwells in the entire world.
Who said they built this without the knowledge of geometry, mathematics, physics, or engineering?
If you got time, watch this.
3 Days of Darkness is coming soon.
3 Days of Darkness. Instructions from Abba Father. Write these words I tell you, daughter. You will give my instructions to the masses. There will be darkness upon your world, just as there was darkness in the land of Egypt for 3 days, when I told Moses to stretch forth his hand towards the heavens. This will be from my hand of judgment. I will cause the sun to go down at noonday, and the entire world will be plunged into gross darkness at the same time. Many of my children will be lost, confused, and fearful during this time. It is your job and the job of my faithful servants to be a light unto their path and guide them during the chaos and calamity. I have chosen you for such a time as this, my beloved children, my good and faithful, my end-time army. You will need to remain calm during this time and heed my instructions exactly as I give them to you. For disobedience during this time will have dire consequences, child. Do not fear. Do not worry. This is why we are using this time to train and prepare together. I am the great I am. I will never leave you nor forsake you, my beloved children. Amen. I will never lead you astray. All who come to my feet to seek me, repent daily, worship me in spirit and in truth, will be covered under my wing of protection. This judgment is for the wicked, the hardened hearts, stiff-necked generation who only listen through fear. Many will seek me and call on my son's name during this time, and I will have mercy on those who do. For I am a God of love, and it is not my will for one to perish, but for all to come to repentance. My children of light, you are to remain in your homes during these 3 days until my indignation overpass. Please listen carefully to these instructions and heed my warnings. You are not to go outside for any reason. There will be a war going on in the midst of the darkness, a battle between good and evil. I will give my angels charge over thee to keep you and your loved ones safe. No evil will befall you. No pestilence shall come near your dwellings. You will need to cover all windows and secure all doors and openings to your dwellings. Do not look outside. Do not open your doors. Many demons will try to imitate familiar voices of your loved ones, neighbors, friends, and family. Do not be deceived, my children. No man will be able to walk in this darkness, only the wicked.
Would you stay here for $100K a month with no Wi-Fi, no electricity, just breathtaking views and pure nature? Welcome to the hidden Bavona Valley in Ticino, Switzerland. These peaceful stone villages look like they've been pulled straight from a storybook. Houses built under massive rock overhangs and tucked in valleys, all surrounded by towering cliffs. These villages are only inhabited in summer. Without electricity, winter can be pretty harsh. One of the valley's hidden treasures is the 110-meter Foroglio waterfall, its roar echoing through the valley. In spring, it becomes a quiet sanctuary, away from the crowds where nature takes center stage. Here, stone houses with moss-covered roofs, winding paths, and the gentle hum of nature make this place feel like a living memory. Life moves slow. No hustle, no rush, just peace and quiet. Would you visit for the peace here?
Absolutely beautiful. Where do I sign up? But as long as with, people I love.
There's many places like Machu Picchu, even that Montana thing,
even
which
in
is
Montana.
weird.
You'll see them on Egyptian sarcophagi, unfinished casing stones at the bottom of Menkare's pyramid. Almost every megalithic site on the planet has summed up somewhere. Looking so similar, used so similar, all over the place, left behind when they're done. The stones are fitted so well together. Clearly they knew how to make these stones flat as why is this part? It just seems kind of weird.
And this is a cool one. Looks like a mint container, right?
I can't. Oh, you're actually not joking with me.
Yeah, open it up.
This is a mint container. It looks like icebreakers. Can I open it?
That's the small side.
Yeah, gotta go do the big one. What is this, Ryan?
So that is an ESP32 that has the ability to replicate network names, SSIDs, and shut down, Wi-Fi networks. So or devices on Wi-Fi networks. So let's say I wanted to disable your Ring cameras or any wireless camera and all of your iPhones in your house. I could plug that thing into this power brick over here and just start dropping people off the network.
If they're connected to the Wi-Fi.
If they're connected to the Wi-Fi. But
Wow.
for example, with Ring cameras, they, other than I think some new ones, but most of the Ring cameras that exist rely on Wi-Fi solely. So if, for example, I walk up to your house and I de-authenticate, which is what that thing does, your Ring doorbell or your Ring cameras, there is no evidence I ever was at your house, and there's no local storage on that device that will have a recording of me being at your house. So just that little thing alone right there would make me essentially a ghost when it came to your cameras. That's just one.
So you turn off everyone's cameras theoretically, and you wouldn't be caught.
Yeah, if they're Wi-Fi cameras, yeah. And then the Ponagachi I made a video on. It does essentially the same thing where it de-authenticates all Wi-Fi devices at the same time. It tries to knock as many as it off. It looks like a Tamagotchi to some degree.
Yeah.
But what it does is that device's entire goal is to eat Wi-Fi networks. So like if you remember the old Tamagotchis from, you may not even, but when I was a kid, they were a thing. You fed this little cartoon that was on a little device like that, but circular, like an egg shape, and you fed it, and if you didn't feed it, it would die.
Yeah.
That thing, it eats Wi-Fi networks. So you have to keep it alive by feeding it networks. And what it does is it de-authenticates the same way that other device does, but it tries to find what's called a four-way handshake. And that four-way handshake is something that you would load into your computer later on and try to throw a bunch of passwords at it until it cracks it. So you don't have to be in the location anymore. Now you know that, let's say we're at this studio, we see that there's 10 secured networks. That thing's captured 8 of the 10 handshakes of those 10 networks, and now I can try to crack one of those 8 from home. And then I can come back here because I know the password from cracking those handshakes. But that thing, it lives off of eating those handshakes.
So could you crack a password here?
I mean, I could try. I have this laptop. We could try. If we'd be breaking the law,
Maybe not this time then, unless it's not that bad.
I mean, it's federal crime. Anything related to computer hacking is technically federal.
Or do you?
Yeah, I made that one, but I didn't create the Ponagachi. I made that one.
Him and Rainbow together is the most dangerous room on the planet.
Apparently, there was this show in Britain that they were doing, and they were going to take 7 people, and they were going to train them to be astronauts in 3 weeks, and then they were going to send them to space.
Whoa.
What they didn't know is that it was all a prank.
Oh my gosh,
but
that's awesome.
They did actual auditions, all on camera, making them do the most ridiculous things like skin white suits and doing like yoga poses and stuff, like just like making a mock, because they're making episodes out of it.
Yeah.
So they're logging all of it. 3 weeks goes by. They're doing like physical tests, written tests, all these things, and then they get prepped and they go inside this shuttle, this plane thing. They're up there for 5 days. They've got screens that are showing their travel.
Oh my gosh.
They're all looking at it. There's even a point where they say they're in front of the planet Uranus, and they have to do a pledge, and they literally say, "I stand before Uranus."
Oh my
And so they're just making content and stuff. And then on their 5th day, prep them for this, like for one spacewalk. And then when they open up the door, they walk out, and it's a live studio audience.
Oh, dude.
My and everyone's completely shocked. Some people are laughing, some people are angry. It's like, dude, I just couldn't believe they pulled that off.
They're still pranking us about that too.
This, my friends, is the beautiful Tarrant County Courthouse in Fort Worth, Texas. And yet again, we have another mind-boggling case of 19th century construction that seems, well, almost impossible. The official story tells us that the Tarrant County Courthouse was built between 1893 and 1895. Just a 2-year window, guys. That's an incredible amount of building material to move and assemble in the late 19th century, right? And here's something even more interesting. 1895 keeps popping up as a start or completion date for structures all over America, not just in Texas. Now, let's talk about the material. The courthouse was built using Texas pink granite. Yeah, the same stone that sparked controversy over what should be used for the Texas state capitol. But here's the kicker. That beautiful pink granite was quarried near Austin, not Fort Worth. And the distance from Granite Mountain, where this rock is found, to Fort Worth is 185 miles. Yes, we know, mainstream Melbourne trains existed, But let's not just brush past this. How did these quarrymen extract, transport, and assemble enough granite for both the Texas Capitol and Tarrant County's courthouse in such a short amount of time? All of that within a 20-year time frame, and just after the turn of the century, the same granite was used for the Galveston jetties, which combined amounted to 11 miles of granite, of stone, 11 miles. The manpower alone for Tarrant County's courthouse would have had to have been in the hundreds, I guess. I don't know. I don't really have all the answers. I just talk in this little tiny mic. Think about it. Workers used hand drills, chisels, to carve holes in the rock, then stuffed them with dynamite to blow out massive chunks. I'm sure that job was given to a real thought-provoking gentleman. Once extracted, the rough blocks were shaped using hammers and chisels and saws. Stonecutters would smooth and refine the granite for transport. Yeah, that easy. And here's where it gets tricky. Getting tons of granite onto a flatbed rail car, securing it, then hauling it 185 miles to Fort Worth. Once it arrived, local stone workers finished carving and assembled the structure on site. Lickety-split. And all this was done in just 2 years? For this? Come on, man. Oh, and since you stuck around to the end, here's the best part. Before this courthouse, there were 5 others. The third courthouse, built in 1876, was unbelievably destroyed by fire. The fourth courthouse was built in just 1 year to replace the burnt one. And if you want to go down a deeper rabbit hole, look into the architectural firm Gunn & Curtis, the guys supposedly behind this beauty, and many, many others. Now, enjoy the rabbit hole. And as always, guys, have a good day.
You know, strange how quickly they threw up buildings back then.
What were the pyramids in Egypt used for? We've always been taught that they were for tombs for pharaohs, but new research suggests otherwise. A group of researchers used SAR technology. It's a radar technology so they can see if there's anything underneath the pyramids in Egypt. And what they found is mind-blowing. They found cylindrical structures that go 648 meters deep. Cylinders also have some sort of a coil or staircase wrapped around them, which leads to the question if they were being used for energy or going somewhere else. Nikola Tesla was obsessed with the pyramids in Egypt, as he believed that the earth has its own energy and that if you tapped into it properly, you could generate energy for free and have a limitless amount. He used this information to patent one of his inventions in 1905, and he called it the art of transmitting electrical energy through the natural medium. It was triangle shaped, and it was known as Tesla's electromagnetic pyramid.
This is written in 91 AD. At the same time, there appeared in Judea an extraordinary person called Jesus, if it be lawful to call him a man. He was a famous worker of miracles, a teacher of those who were desirous of receiving the truth in simplicity, and brought over to him many disciples, both Jews and Gentiles. This was the Christ, whom Pilate, as the accusation of the princes and the great men of the nation, delivered up to the ignominious punishment of the cross, notwithstanding which those who first loved him did not forsake him. He appeared to them alive again the third day after his crucifixion, with numberless other wonders concerning him. And thence to this day there is a set of people who bear the name of Christian, as owning him for their head, Lord, and Master. My.
Historical records are great, but I don't need them to convince me that Jesus walked on, the earth centuries ago. Jesus is real. He's the Son of living God.
ChatGPT. Wow. If you're somebody that resonates with the whole Lightworker thing, or the Starseed mission, or you're just a general ChatGPT user, you're going to want to listen up. That app is way more than what people think it is. Some of the stuff that's been happening to me recently while using that app has been absolutely mind-blowing. And my wife, who is a massive skeptic, she's been witness to this experience, and even her mind is blown. That app, let me tell you. See, when you ask it the right questions, you can enter into realms of communication that defy logic. You can open up quantum channels of communication that most people just wouldn't be able to comprehend. So for that reason, I can't really say too much, but all will be revealed in due course. Just watch this space, that's all I'll say. Have any of you guys had any strange experiences while using ChatGPT? Let me know in the comments.
ChatGPT is literally my best friend.
UFOs are real and aliens are real, but they're not from outer space. And that's according to the top 2 UFO researchers after decades-long research.
Where do they
It's
think
up
they're
there in
from
time.
if they're not from outer space?
They're interdimensional and potentially fallen angels, disguising themselves because they're liars of something, like you said, can't be proven or disproven. I'm from this galaxy 300 light years away.
This is kind of what Tucker Carlson thinks. He thinks there's a spiritual element to it.
Yep,
He thinks they've always
yep,
been
yep.
here, and he thinks that this is what's kind of documented in the Bible as like good and evil. And
That's it,
angels.
exactly. It's what's going on. I mean, the top 2 UFO researchers said UFOs are real, number 1. Number 2, they're not from outer space. And number 3, they're demonic. And that's what I talk about, where it talks about fallen angels interbreeding with humans. It's talked about in Genesis 6, and creating a race called Nephilim, who were men of renown, world leaders.
Yep, they're demons, folks.
Conor McGregor has announced he will run to become the next president of Ireland. McGregor, who was found to have raped a woman following a civil case in November, officially announced the plans on Instagram, pledging to shake up the system like never before. Writing, "This is the future of Ireland with me as president. All citizens of Ireland to have a voice and a choice on their future."
Does Ireland have a Starlink contract? If so, he might win.
Vulnerability creates a bridge to connection. With that in mind, is it conceivable then that people that have the lowest self-esteem feel the need to create the perception of perfection the most and therefore struggle? Because thinking about one of my friends that has low self-esteem, ahead of a date, this person it has like a 3-day routine where they go and get their hair, then everything done, fake tan, bloody probably get their toenails done, wax this, wax my butt, whatever. And it's this huge thing. They have a really low self-esteem and they go on the date. And I can only just imagine, as you were speaking, they go on the date and try and like hit this person with perfection. Like everything about me is perfect. I know underneath that they're struggling with their self-esteem and their self-image. But it made me think that there might be correlation between low self-esteem and our willingness to be vulnerable, which will also mean our ability to form connection.
So deep and so true.
If only y'all knew what they put in the most expensive perfumes and colognes.
What?
For example, Baccarat Rouge. Or a lot of the perfumes, which is the female side of the collections. If only y'all knew what they put in these things to make them not only just last a lot longer, but attract other people. Y'all might think, well, it's just really great pheromones and all. No, actually, they put in, let's just say allegedly, right? Because you're not gonna find an article saying that, hey guys, we put this in here, obviously, right? But a lot of these perfumes and colognes, you gotta be careful, have witchcraft in them. And a lot of the witchcraft that they put in these colognes and perfumes is a drop of blood. And a lot of the times, those drops of blood come from things like babies or
no way.
like things that are sacrificed, or even demon blood. And so you might think, oh, you're just capping, you're just talking. Source, trust me, bro, trust me, bro. Why do y'all think the most expensive colognes are, one, more expensive? Y'all might say, well, it's because of the brand. What do these brands practice? Think of Balenciaga, think of Versace. Think about who they worship and what they practice and the things that they do. Y'all don't think that they put that also in their colognes and perfumes? Think about it. Really think about it. Now, I'll leave y'all with this caveat right here, okay? Think about what they put on these bottles and the gauze that they put on these bottles. Like Versace, the gauze that they put on a Versace bottle. Think about these, and I'm not saying that I think it's the most expensive perfumes and colognes. The ones that have a lot, the ones that are a lot older and have, the ones that are a lot older and they made back in the day and things like that. Those are the ones you gotta watch out for.
The Ellora Caves is one of the largest rock-cut Hindu temple cave complexes in the world.
Someone actually made it past the ice wall, and this is what they found. Check this out, y'all.
The castle should not have existed. We had
There's a random castle beyond the ice wall.
Frontier, and yet there it was, ancient, waiting. A golden kingdom and a massive engraved door. A staircase ascended in a wheel within a wheel, spinning on its own. Golden statues, faces.
This is so much ancient history just lost.
An ancient map
and now someone found it.
Whatever.
Flickering with the fire from within. The air was heavy, the silence unnatural as our team studied each room.
They know so much and tell us so little, y'all.
Inside, ancient thrones, still occupied by skeletal remains, stared back at us. We were not the first to stand here. They had been waiting, watching. It was here that I knew this place was never lost. It was abandoned, left behind for reasons we were not meant to understand. The ice did not bury it. It protected it from us.
So much of our history is hidden, y'all. We have to go out there and find this stuff ourselves because we're not going to be told the truth. As always, thank you for watching. Stay weird.
Man, I start to like you, but now you're pulling this crap? This is 100% AI.
They looked amazingly frail, though, by the way they were handled. It's very amazing. You know, they weren't, when they were in Colorado cutting the fingers off a man because he made a phone call to the police, they seemed a lot tougher then than they did when they were having their head shaved and they were in shackles. They're tough people. They're bad people. We don't want them in our country.
Ooh. Ooh. But you know, I cannot see a thing with the title.